Hello friends, welcome to this video. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top tips for how you can overcome over-exercising. Based on my personal experience, I did go through a bout of over-exercising and I know how exhausted I felt all the time, how obsessed I was with having to exercise in order just to feel stable, and how I felt really guilty if I missed a workout or if I wasn't able to make it to my workout in the morning. Like the rest of my day was broken and I just felt drained. I relied on caffeine and my workout to function, and that kind of contributed to me getting burnt out. So in this video I'm going to be sharing with you what I did in order to overcome over-exercising and all of the obsession I had with exercising in order to get to a really healthy, happy place where I feel like I can live my life again. I feel so free and not honestly not tied to a workout routine or tied to a specific way to work out, and just more in tune with my body and with movement and how I feel and how I can feel good. And it does not require me working out every single day of the week. I figured I'd be doing a little get ready with me while we're doing this, a cute little chat, so grab your coffee. So a little background on me, by the way. Hi, I'm Emily. I went through burnout during grad school, and I was using exercising as a way of coping with stress. A lot of mental and emotional stress going on in my personal life, and the way that I coped with that was what I used to always do, which was go to the gym and work it out, get those endorphins going on and everything. But that turned into a really unhealthy relationship with exercise, where at one point I was really relying on exercise in order to make it to the rest of my day, because I relied too heavily on working out in order to feel okay. And at one point I lost touch with my hunger cues. I wasn't able to know if I was actually hungry or if I was just tired. At one point I was like, I don't even know what I feel like anymore. Even though I was so exhausted from my day, I would just lay in bed anxious, unable to fall asleep at night. I lost my period for a long period of time, and I honestly really relied on my workout in order to just be a functioning human being. And so my breaking point personally was when I just hated how I felt. I was not showing up as the sister, as the daughter, as the best friend as I wanted to be. I was too tired to do anything. I was irritable, cranky all the time. I had crazy mood swings. I would be crying about everything. I would forget my coffee in the morning, I would cry. I was very unstable. Obviously mood swings are a normal part of being a female, about normal hormonal changes, but to the level where I would get upset about every little itty bitty bitty thing all the time, not just certain times a month. All the time. I knew that my hormones were messed up. I also wasn't getting my period. So all of these things, I kind of hit a breaking point. I just hated who I was. And that led me to really full send trying to get back in touch with my body, get in touch with health again. And so here are the 4 main ways that I was able to kind of overcome over-exercising. I got to a place today where I still feel really happy, feel very strong, don't feel obsessed with exercise. I feel free to live about my life, and I just feel like I've regained my life again. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so happy about it. So let's hop into those 4 different areas. The 4 areas that I really focused on are going to be movement, my diet, lifestyle changes, and then of course the mindset. So a lot of mindset shifts I had to make. And if you are going to watch any part of this video, please watch the part about mindset, which is going to be part number 4. And I have the timestamps linked below, because this was the most important part of my entire journey. Without the mindset shifts and doing the inner work, it is going to be way harder in order to do any of the little lifestyle changes and do any of the diet and any of the nutrition without working on that part first. So please watch that part if you're going to watch any of these parts. Let's go get ready, by the way, and we'll carry on with the chat. Okay, please don't mind my messy bathroom. Me and all my siblings share it, and it just works for us. So I'm just going to go ahead and wash my face right now, but a few tips or signs that you might be over-exercising. If any of what I just said related to you, you feel like you can't get on started with your day without working out, you feel anxious or guilty if you didn't make it to your workout in one morning or one day, if your sleep is super dysregulated, so maybe lay in bed awake just waiting to fall asleep, or if you rely on caffeine to function every day. I mean, I still love my caffeine, I still love my cold brew, but if you feel like you keep going for that coffee just to exist, and you might be not eating breakfast and having coffee instead, or in general if you've lost your hunger cues, those are some signs that you might be over-exercising. So hopefully these tips help you. So area number 1 that I really had to work on was going to be my fitness. Obviously the physical aspect of over-exercising, of feeling like I had to work out 7 days a week, which is just not enough for my muscles to actually repair and being able to grow or allow my body in general to rest enough. Especially as someone who always needed a lot of sleep as a kid, I definitely wasn't resting enough. So the physical side and the movement side of kind of overcoming burnout for me was a combination of changing the number of days that I worked out from 7 days, dropping that back. I added in very strict rest days. I was like, girl, you are taking those rest days. You have to. So I went down to, I think I did it pretty gradually because I know it was hard for me to like make such a big change at first from going from like 7 days a week to just like 3 or something. So for me, what I did was I went down to 5 days a week. And then at one point I was at 4. And so I did that. I changed the volume of my workouts. So instead of doing like 10 plus exercises a workout, I switched that back down to like 6 to 8, depending on how intense they were, how many compound movements I was doing. So I dropped the total volume, which for me was really important. It decreased the total amount of time that I was working out. It allowed me to have more rest days during my week of workouts. And so in general, I was allowing my body to rest. I was still challenging my muscles with resistance training, which was kind of important for me in the journey because I still used exercise as a way to cope with stress and as a way to reconnect with my body. But now I wasn't overly taxing my body and really just like breaking it down, but instead I started to build it back up and allow it to heal, which was really important. And I kind of think of it as like a multiple stage process where the first part, like as I drop in my rest days, what I noticed was I felt more tired. Like once I allowed myself to add in more rest days, to make my workouts have fewer exercises in them and allow my body to actually sleep with a strict night care routine, what I noticed was I actually felt more tired at first. Which seems really counterintuitive if you think about it, but I gotta hydrate before my skin dries out. But what happens in our bodies is, especially if you have a lot of stress going on in your life, like emotional and mental stress, which I did, grad school, and a combination of things going on in my life, coupled with very intense physical activity, I had really high cortisol, the stress hormone, cortisol in my blood. When we normally work out, our body releases cortisol and it goes away after a period of time, and that's normal and that's healthy because the benefits of exercise counteract any short cortisol increases. Cortisol isn't just bad. What's bad is when cortisol is constantly high in our bodies. So cortisol was way too high in my body. I was constantly mentally stressed, very anxious. And then on top of that, I tried to use exercise as a way to drop that. But what happens is when we exercise too intensely, and of course how intense we exercise is very dependent on our personal bodies, our genetics, how intense we've been training in the past, as well as our life stressors, which of course we all forget about. But if we have a lot of stress going on in our personal lives, then any level of exercise that might have been normal in the past before the life stressor, it might be too much at that point. And that's what happened to me. So my cortisol was too high. It was affecting how I slept. It was affecting my hormones. It was affecting my menstrual cycle. I wasn't getting my period. It was affecting my hunger cues, my ability to see if I was satiated. So all of these things were really getting affected. I went on a tangent there, but I dropped my workouts from 7 days a week to 5 days a week and then to 4 days a week. I had strict rest days. And instead of doing HIIT workouts, which of course boost our cortisol right on up, instead of doing HIIT workouts, I switched those out for walks in the sunshine, outdoors. I would go for a 30 to 40, even 20, like 15 to 20 minute walk if I could fit it in the sunshine to get in a little bit of walking. I would listen to a podcast or I'd call someone on the phone, have a little hot girl walk in the sunshine. And I just swapped out HIIT workouts for that. And that was my form of cardio. And that worked. And that worked really, really well for me because now I was able to still get in a little bit of movement. I got in some sunshine. I was able to kind of like listen to a podcast or connect with a person and still get in that movement, but not in a very intense format like HIIT, high intensity interval training, that would tax my body. So now I was allowing my body to recover instead of it being further taxed. That was an important switch for me. And the last thing that I did kind of like physically, movement wise, personally, I switched to calisthenics training. I had been doing a lot of resistance-based training using weights in the gym, and I switched over to calisthenics, which is body weight training. What's tricky is like calisthenics body weight training can be harder or easier than weights in the gym, and it kind of depends on the movement that you're doing. But what I found is a lot of the calisthenics movements that I was doing were a lot more compound exercises. So you think of your push-up, you think of your pull-up, you think of your squat, you think of your like pistol squat, different squatting variations, or the plank, or the Australian row. All of these require a bunch of muscles. So I was able to use like 6 exercises in my workout, and they were all compound movements, and I was able to target a bunch of different muscles, but not have like 10 exercises in my workout. So I still challenged different muscles and allowed them to be moved, but I didn't overly tax them. And so that was really important for me. People train really differently. I mean, I train slightly differently than how I did when I first started to go through like kind of over-exercise training recovery or like burnout recovery. And as our routines adapt, we need different things. But what really, really worked for me was doing like 6 to 8, usually towards like the 6 body weight calisthenics training exercises, or even just like a combination of body weight training exercises and gym exercises. That worked really, really well for me. But I think like the most important parts for me was getting enough sleep, as well as changing those HIIT workouts, Thor walks, and just dropping total exercise volume. Those were really important for me. Okay, so that was area number 1. Area number 2 is going to be nutrition. So let's chat about diet. And this is going to be also unique to you, so feel free to take or leave whatever I say. But what worked for me, there were 4 things that I had to really focus on in my nutrition that I changed and that have worked really well for me. One was eating more. I personally found that, you know, with combining a lot of stress in my body, especially with overexercising, I just needed to consume more calories, as well as more diverse foods, more protein, and not having any restrictions. And so for me, what this looked like is, you know, I have my normal go-to groceries. Go to Publix, go to Walmart, grab my normal go-tos, and I don't really have to think about it because I already know what I'm making for that week. But what I found was, without any good nutritional diversity and variety, what happens is our bodies end up lacking certain minerals that we might get from different foods, that if we don't switch out our meals or try out different foods, sometimes we might be accidentally lacking like one mineral or vitamin or something along those lines. So what worked really well for me was just trying to switch up my go-to meals each week. So like just switching up my shopping cart every once in a while, throwing in different foods, as well as just being okay with eating more calorically dense foods, knowing that that's going to be able to fuel my body and help me like continue to build my body up, fix my hormones. One thing that I personally had to focus on a lot was making sure I got enough protein. I use like a protein supplement to help with that, and just lots of different sources of protein implemented into my diet too. And of course, not having restrictions. Girl, if you want that ice cream, go get it. Just go get it. Don't question it. If you and your bestie are having a hot girl walk and you walk by this really amazing cookie stand, go get the cookie. Go get the cookie. That was something that I had been struggling with a little bit. I'm personally lactose intolerant and have a few food allergies. So in the past, it's been really easy for me to be like, oh God, I don't even want to try this thing in case it causes me to have a reaction. But when I tried to be a little bit more open to trying new foods and trying different types of foods, then I realized that it's not that deep, and I was actually really okay and could tolerate and properly digest a lot of the things I had been trying to avoid just in case. Like eggs I'd been avoiding for a while, because when I was younger, I had a sensitivity and I really, really bloated when I had egg whites. I can have eggs fine now. For me, it really helped me to just try out different food groups, not have restrictions, allow yourself to have the cookie, allow yourself to have the popcorn and the bachelorette night. Girl, just let yourself eat, let yourself fuel yourself. It is going to help your body build up, be stronger, and help you get through this. So that was area number 2, it's kind of like diet and everything. Area number 3 for me was lifestyle changes. And I always get talking and I completely forget to actually do the makeup routine, but this right here is a moisturizer slash UV slash has niacinamide, which is fabulous. But for lifestyle, I'm about to go real white right here, guys. But lifestyle changes, and this was probably one of the hardest parts. And that was reevaluating the commitments I had in my life, figuring out if they were giving enough to me for me to keep doing them. And I had a lot of commitments that I was doing personally because I felt like I should be. Like, I feel like I should be doing this volunteer work, and also this volunteer work, and also helping this person out, and also doing this activity because I've done it for so long, even though I don't really enjoy it anymore. So I had a lot of those types of commitments where they weren't really filling my cup, or they were just taking a lot of time but not giving enough back to me that they warranted me continuing to do them. And so that was probably the hardest part. That's probably the hardest part for me. But I really just reevaluated. I wrote down all the things that I was doing, and I just circled the ones that I really loved doing. I could not imagine giving up doing them. And then I looked at the rest, I looked at my week, and I just started crossing stuff out. And I was just very, very harsh with, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for someone else? What is the reason behind why I'm doing this? And that really helped me personally, because I found that I was doing a lot of things. This is my little, I don't know how to do that. I was doing a lot of things for other people. Plus, on a side note, one of the reasons I was personally over-exercising was because I found exercising as a way to cope with stress. And I was having a lot of stress in my life. So what I had to do really was find other ways to cope with stress that weren't moving my body. And for me, that was connecting with friends, trying to connect with people and give back the energy that I really wanted to receive out there, spending more time taking care of me, like me time activities. I developed a super amazing self-care routine, which I highly recommend. Just prioritizing yourself. If you don't prioritize yourself, girl, you are not going to be able to show up for others in the way that you want to be able to. Like, one of the reasons I started hating myself eventually after I hit like rock bottom was because I was just like, who is this girl? Like, I'm not nice to people. I'm cranky all the time. I'm not being a good sister. I'm not being a good bestie. Like, I'm too tired to do anything. This is not me. And I don't want to continue to show up as this girl. So I had to take care of myself first before I was able to really be that person. So self-care activities that I started doing were like a nice Netflix and chill, but more like just Netflix because my partner lives in a different country. But Netflix, FaceTiming with my family, more like podcasts, gentle activities, boba coffee dates, going to the beach with your bestie, reading fiction books. This is a fun one. This one hit home for me because I used to love to read as a little girl. Fiction books. I'm a good romance girl. I love a little happy love story. It makes me happy, okay? I always felt like, oh, I should be reading a self-help book. I should be reading a book that's gonna like give me knowledge and like help me better understand the world. But what I actually really wanted to read was just like a cute little romance novel. Give me a good Nora Roberts. And so I let myself just read fiction books. Like, whatever that fun little activity is for you, just let yourself do it. Maybe that's painting, maybe it is doodling, or some other form of artwork or singing, or like whatever it is for you, let yourself do it. Let yourself go have the karaoke night, either with the girls or solo. Have a solo karaoke date. Love that. Just let yourself like do the little things that you know will make you happy, but like you always are like, oh, I don't have time to do that. That is the time. You have to schedule in that self-care time. For me, I was literally like, okay, 30 minutes at the end of the day, cut yourself off. You may not do any like work-related activities, studying, like literally work-related things. Don't let yourself do them. It is literally Emily fun time. You can do whatever you want, Emily. It could be Netflix, could be reading that book, could be journaling, getting your thoughts out of your head, could be meditating, could be whatever you want. But it is for you, okay? Could be a fun night care routine. Oh yeah, and this is a side note, but I am very big about hyping yourself up. You should be taking care of yourself the way that you talk to and would treat your bestie. Like, do you talk positively to yourself? Because one thing I had to learn how to do is how to actually speak positively about myself. Instead of having a thought, if I mess up something, I wouldn't be like, oh, I don't even like to say it, but like, ah, you suck, Emily, or like, come on, you're so blah, 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 insert bad word. Would you tell your bestie that? No. I sure hope not. If you would, then please reeval how you talk to your bestie, because like, we're meant to hype each other up. Okay, so why aren't you doing that to yourself? I try not to do it as a joke even. You need to talk to yourself positively, because how you talk to yourself is one of the most important things. And honestly, that is just something I struggled with in the beginning. How you talk to yourself is one of the most important people who are talking to you. So please, when you are about to say something like negative about yourself because maybe you messed up, try and talk to yourself like you're a kid. Oh, it's okay. Like, everyone messes up. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't even worry about it. This is normal. And don't worry, girl, you got it for the next time. Now this is a learning experience. Just be compassionate with yourself and hype yourself up too. Like, literally just dance and be like, have a good time. Be your best self. Okay, last little thing. I can't remember if I said this or not. What really helped me was making a huge effort to connect with besties and try and make friends in real life. IRL, the real people. Because I have my long distance besties who I call all the time. In-person connection is so underrated. Like, deep connection, hang out, chat, do an activity, not just on your phone. Like, that's fine sometimes. But what helped me was like really tapping into spending time with people in my real life and just being ourselves. And it takes a hot sec. It's not easy to find that always. And you just gotta keep going, because if you keep putting your energy out there, like who you actually are, you will find the right people. It takes a hot second and it sucks, but try not to change who you actually are and what you actually enjoy just so you fit in with those people, because that can feel very easy to do, but in the long term, that's not going to make you feel fulfilled. So what I did was I was very hardcore about who comes in my inner circle. I'm very selective about the people in this inner circle here. And like, for example, I put myself out here on YouTube. Like, this is the real me, guys. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You can leave it. If you like it, take it. Like, take it or leave it. But like, just being honest and upfront with who you are when you interact with people, because like, if they don't like you, they're not your vibe. And that is okay, because it's so much time saved for you, not having to spend time around bad energy people. We don't need any of that. No room in that for healing. I went a little bit on a tangent there, so sorry. Not really, but oops. Area number 4, that is arguably the most important area for me when I was going through and healing from over-exercising and burnout recovery, was, drumroll, the mindset shifts. So underrated, so underrated. And these mindset shifts were the actual part that allowed me to make all of these other changes work in my life. Without me changing the mindset and the limiting beliefs I had about why I needed to over-exercise, or how I ate, or who I spent time with, or like how I spent my time in general, without me making the mindset shifts that were holding me back, I never would have been able to actually make these exercise changes. Never would have been able to actually like implement these rest days, or have that like girls' coffee morning, even though it's like an unproductive thing. Unproductive. It's not. Okay. But maybe I used to think it was. And personally, a lot of things were holding me back. I will share with you a few of the things that were holding me back, but what I ultimately want to do is tell you how I recognized the things that were holding me back, because we're all different, and what might be holding you back and your limiting beliefs are probably going to be a little bit different than mine. So I want to help you actually be able to identify those and attack them in your own life. But a few of the ones that were holding me back were a lot of perfectionistic tendencies. I felt like if it wasn't done perfectly, it couldn't be done. That held me back a lot. Also, doing things to please others as opposed to please myself. I was spending too much of my time trying to do things for other people. Not that they even wanted it, but I just assumed they wanted it. It's a limiting belief. Also, never wanting to feel like a burden on anyone else. So trying to be incredibly independent and never ask anyone for help because I didn't want to be a burden. But that also made me a little bit of a control freak and really held me back, because a lot of the things I did, I never reached out for help, which makes other people feel like you don't care about them. You don't ever ask anyone for help, but they feel like they can't ask you for help. They feel like they can't reach out to you. And so that's kind of like limiting your relationships already. You have to be the one to extend the olive branch first. And so like asking people for help, and also being okay not having control in every aspect, that was really, really tough for me to get over, but was very important for me in being able to further my relationships and actually evolve how I was able to live in general. So real quick, a few takeaways that were super important for me. 1, my worth is not tied to how I look. However my body looks, however I think my body looks, because emphasis on that, a lot of times we look in the mirror and we tear ourselves down. Everyone does it. We all pick out our own little imperfections. Girl, your bestie looks at you and is like, that chick is gorgeous, okay? She's not picking out that itty bitty little spot on your face. She's not picking out whatever insecurities you see. She doesn't see them. She sees your personality. She sees how amazing of a person you are, and she sees how much growth you've been through. Your worth is not tied to how you look, okay? That was one mindset shift I had to get over, because I struggled a lot with like body dysmorphia and feeling like I had to exercise to obtain a specific physique. Girl, we love you for your personality and we want you to be healthy. However your body looks when you're healthy and happy, that's what we want for you. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for me, honestly. And this is what my body looks like when I'm happy and healthy. Mindset 2, rest is so underrated. Super important. This is emotional, physical, and mental rest. Obviously sleep too, we need sleep. So good sleep hygiene. I like to turn off my phone before going to bed. I like to spend time like journaling or allowing myself to wind down with like a self-care routine before actually going to sleep. And that's part of my sleep hygiene. Trying to go to bed around the same time every day. Trying to wake up around the same time every day. Gets my circadian rhythm in check and allows me to feel rested when I wake up long term. Mental rest, not feeling like I have to learn or have to be doing something productive constantly, and just allowing myself to be present, to hang out, to spend time with people around me, just to not do things and be okay with it. Really easier said than done for me. Super hard for me to get through, but very doable. And then emotional rest. Feeling like I can connect with someone and tell them what worries me, what I feel anxious about, what's been on my mind recently, what I'm excited about in the world. Does not feel only negative, could be very positive. It's those deep chats with my bestie, being able to connect with people, foster those relationships, and feel emotionally safe and emotionally rested, like you've connected with someone. Physical rest from activity, rest days, literally not going to the gym, not going to the calisthenics park, not doing resistance training on my body, not doing HIIT workouts on my body, not doing cardio on my body, literally just chilling, just existing. Our bodies need food, even if we're not working out. Beauty, so underrated. Rest days are important. Important to rebuild your muscles, important to allow your system to not be compromised constantly, important to let you have a life and do things in your free time. Rest days are more efficient in me achieving health and also calisthenic skills and feeling strong, more efficient than just working out every single day. Not efficient. Not efficient at all. All right, so those were a few of the mindset beliefs I had to get through that were specific to me in my journey. But I want to tell you how you can identify what limiting beliefs you have in your own life so that you can address each specifically and figure out how you can peel back the layers and go through them on your own journey. So how I did it was I was very in tune with how I felt and what was going on around me. So whenever I felt triggered, whenever I felt a specific emotion, I felt anxious, I felt overwhelmed, I felt angry, I felt irritated. For me, I get anxiety in my throat and my chest. And I'm just like that closing up feeling. Whenever I got that, I just stopped for a second and I said, okay, what just made me feel like that? Did someone talk to me a specific way? Did someone ask me to do a task? Did I miss something? Did I eat something? Did I not do something? Did something happen this morning? Did I get news about something else? What happened? And then I would dissect that deeper. So for example, if someone asked me to do a task, but I was already drowning in work and I felt like a sense of like overwhelm or anxiety, recognize the emotion. And then 2-step, what made me feel like that? Oh, it's this person asking me to do this extra work. And that right there is telling me, okay, I need to set a boundary. When this action happens, I feel this emotion sometimes. Why is that? Why is it that when someone asks me to do something, I feel stressed? That is because I already have a full plate. That's because I don't have more time. And what that tells me is I need to set a boundary with this person and perhaps other people too. When they ask me this, I need to be able to communicate effectively what's going on in my life, how I'm feeling, and why I might not be able to do that at this time. And just communicate that in a way that is polite, but also allows me to set that boundary, because setting boundaries is super important. You gotta take care of yourself before you can take care of others. Obviously, we wanna help other people on our team, but you have to take care of yourself before others. And if you already have a full plate, please don't be trying to take on other people's plates too, please. Please. And honestly, this is a lot of introspective work. It was a combination of journaling, just walking without listening to anything, just kind of thinking about what's going on, what excites me, what doesn't excite me, thinking about the commitments I have in my life and what I value, what I enjoy doing, what I don't enjoy doing, and really just deep diving into what makes me feel alive, what makes me feel like I have purpose, what makes me excited in this world, then tapping more into that and kind of leaving the things that I feel like I have to do behind, acknowledging, recognizing your limiting beliefs, and then slowly trying to tap into them and not only figure out why you have them, but also try to change them. Like write down the opposite, a corrective statement for your limiting belief. For me, maybe I used to feel like if I don't look super lean, super jacked, then I'm not worthy. Like whatever negative limiting belief I had. Fix that to my worth is not tied to how I look. My worth is tied to who I am as a person, how I show up for others. Like my personality, am I able to be my happy, normal, bubbly self? I'm a little quirky. If my quirks aren't coming out, then what does that tell me? Does that tell me that I'm not doing okay? So all these things, good things to think about. I know I've rambled on for this video so long, but a final note on mindset, one of the hard things that I really had to learn how to do, and one thing that I would really recommend that you do, especially as we go through this over-exercising burnout recovery period where you are trying to make yourself feel healthy and strong and safe and good again, you have to learn how to advocate for yourself. It was so tough for me at the beginning to set boundaries, to tell people no, because I always felt that fear of FOMO. Am I like missing out on something? What if I don't do this? What if I don't do this? But what if you do? What if you do? What if you have that extra time to take care of yourself, to have that self-care routine, to take care of your nutrition, to take care of your body, to allow yourself to connect with friends and the people who you love? What if you do take that time? then what if you build the life that you love? So a lot of times I was worried about what I would miss, but I never really saw what I would gain. So in hindsight, it's always easier to see. You gain so much more when you drop the things that don't actually mean things to you, that you feel like you have to do, but you don't really have to do. You have to learn how to advocate for yourself and set boundaries. Set those boundaries. You have to show up for yourself because a lot of people aren't going to show up for you before you do. So you have to learn to take care of yourself and put yourself first. And I want that for you because I want you to live your best life. I want you to feel healthy. I want you to feel energized. I want you to feel strong, and you need to advocate for yourself. Okay? Just do it. Tough love. You got this. I believe in you. All right. Wow, that was I think I got through all the steps of my makeup routine. Yeah, I have a really simple makeup routine. It's like 5 things. But I hope that all of those steps helped you going through the movement changes, the nutrition changes, the lifestyle changes, the mindset changes. Those are the things that helped me overcome over-exercising, being burnt out, and slowly becoming like a happy version of myself again, where I feel strong. I don't have guilt about not working out. I feel like I can eat the foods I want to eat. I just feel happy again. I feel like I can show up as the sister and the bestie I want to be. And I'm rambling again, but I hope you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know if this was helpful in the comments. I hope it helped at least one person. If it did, then it was totally worth it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.